Have you ever wondered how Viking warriors maintained absolute calm in the face of death? Today you'll discover the ancient secret they used to master their emotions in the most extreme situations. In this video, I'll reveal the 10 Viking techniques of emotional control that will completely transform how you face conflicts. From the philosophy of Hugr to the power of Ragnar, you'll learn methods proven by warriors who conquered Europe. This ancient knowledge is more relevant today than ever. If you're tired of reacting impulsively, losing your cool in arguments, or feeling dominated by your emotions, this video will change your perspective. If this content brings you value, give me a like. It helps me tremendously to keep sharing this ancient wisdom with you. And in the comments, tell me, what's your biggest challenge controlling emotions in conflicts? I read every message personally. Subscribe for more ancient warrior wisdom applied to the modern world. Imagine facing 100 enemies with swords raised, knowing that in the next seconds you could die. Would you panic? Would you freeze? The Vikings didn't. They had mastered something most people today will never achieve: absolute control of their emotions in the middle of chaos. Hey, how are you doing? Today I'm going to reveal the ancient secret that Nordic warriors used to stay calm in the most extreme situations. We're not talking about simple breathing techniques or modern meditation. We're talking about a life philosophy forged in the northern cold, tested in real battles, and passed down through generations. If you stay until the end, you'll understand why this knowledge is more powerful in 2025 than 1,000 years ago. And if this resonates with you, I'd love for you to be part of this community seeking excellence through ancient wisdom. Oh, and in the comments, tell me, what's your biggest challenge controlling your emotions? Ready? Then let's go. Point 1. The Hugr concept, the indomitable mind. The Vikings had a word that defined their entire emotional control system: Hugr. This word has no direct English translation, but it represents the combination of mind, spirit, courage, and inner strength. Hugr wasn't something you were born with complete. It was something you forged, like a blacksmith forges a sword. Every conflict, every challenge, every moment of adversity was an opportunity to temper your Hugr. But here's the secret. Vikings understood that strong Hugr didn't mean suppressing emotions. It meant knowing them so deeply you could choose when and how to express them. It was the difference between being a slave to your emotions and being their master. Think of a raging river. A weak man tries to stop it with his hands and is swept away. An ignorant man ignores it and is surprised. But a man with strong Hugr builds channels, directs the flow, and converts that force into useful power. This is the first lesson. Your emotions are like that river. You can't stop them, but you can direct them. Point 2. The Rokr. Embrace your inner darkness. Now let's go to something deep, something most modern philosophies avoid: the Viking concept of Rokr, which means darkness or twilight. The Norse didn't believe in dividing the world between light and darkness, good and evil, absolutely. They understood that inside every person existed the Rokr, that dark, primitive, even violent part. And here's what's revolutionary. Instead of denying it, they integrated it. Have you noticed how people who scream loudest about being peaceful sometimes react most violently when provoked? This happens because they've repressed their Rokr instead of integrating it. It's like having a wild wolf locked in a cage inside you. While it's caged, you'll live in fear of it escaping. And when it finally does, it will be chaotic and destructive. The Viking warrior did something different. He took that wolf out of the cage consciously. He fed it, trained it, learned to communicate with it. Point 3. The practice of strategic silence. The Vikings had a saying: the wise man is silent in the thing. The thing was their assembly. But it wasn't about any silence. It was about strategic silence, one of the most powerful weapons in any conflict. In Norse sagas, we repeatedly find this scene. A man is gravely insulted in public. Everyone expects him to explode, to draw his sword, to prove his honor immediately. But the truly dangerous warrior does something different. He stays silent. Why? Because he understood several fundamental principles. First, whoever speaks first in a conflict reveals their position. Whoever remains silent observes and learns. Second, silence in the midst of provocation is disconcerting. The person attacking you expects a reaction. Your calm disarms them. Third, silence gives you time. Time for your initial emotions to pass from boiling to simmering. In modern practice, when you're in a heated discussion, try this. After the other person finishes speaking, count mentally to 5 before responding. Point 4. The Hemingja concept, your spiritual capital. Now we arrive at one of the most fascinating concepts of Viking psychology: Hemingja. This word translates approximately as luck, but its real meaning is much deeper. The Norse believed each person had a kind of spiritual capital or vital energy that accumulated through honorable actions and dissipated through dishonorable actions. Here's what's crucial for emotional control. Every time you reacted impulsively, every time you let your emotions control you, you were spending your Hugr. It was like burning your power for nothing. Imagine you have a treasure of limited personal energy. Each day you have a certain amount. You can spend it on insignificant emotional explosions, or you can conserve it for moments that truly matter. Someone insulted you on social media? Responding aggressively spends your Hugr. Someone cut you off in traffic? Yelling consumes your power. But when it truly matters, you release your complete Hugr. And because you've conserved it, your response is devastating in its effectiveness. Point 5. The controlled berserker breathing. You've heard of berserkers, those Viking warriors who entered a state of seemingly uncontrollable fury. But what most don't know is that true berserkers didn't lose control, they transformed it. They had a specific breathing technique that allowed them to access altered states of consciousness while maintaining their strategic center. The technique was this: deep rhythmic breaths, 4 counts inhaling, 4 counts holding, 4 counts exhaling, 4 counts pause. But with a crucial difference. With each inhalation, they visualized their power growing. With each exhalation, they visualized fear leaving their body. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Vikings knew 1,000 years ago. This form of breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reduces cortisol, and increases mental clarity while maintaining physical energy. When you feel your emotions about to overflow, do this. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Pause for 4 seconds. Repeat 3 times. Point 6. The Drengur Code. Dignity under pressure. Drengur is a Norse word with no exact translation, but it means something like brave in an honorable way or noble in actions. Being Drengur was the maximum aspiration of a Viking warrior. What's extraordinary about the Drengur Code is that it wasn't measured by how many battles you won, but by how you fought them. A man could lose a battle and still be Drengur if he maintained his composure, his honor, his dignity. This is revolutionary for emotional control. Your worth isn't in winning every conflict, but in how you behave during it. The weak man needs to win every small conflict to feel validated. The man with Drengur can lose 1,000 small battles because he knows his worth isn't at stake. You're in an argument and realize you're wrong. The ego screams to keep defending yourself, but Drengur tells you, you're right, I was wrong. And in that moment of authentic humility, your personal power increases. Point 7. Long-term vision. Think like a Jarl. A Jarl was a Viking leader, and what separated a good Jarl from a mediocre one wasn't just his battle skill, but his ability to think 5 moves ahead, like a chess master. In the heat of conflict, the average person only sees the immediate present, but the Jarl saw the complete board. If I respond now with violence, how does this affect my long-term position? This long-term perspective is fundamental for emotional control. When you can see beyond the present moment, small provocations lose their power over you. The Jarls had a mental exercise. Before responding to any provocation, they asked themselves, will this matter in a year? In 10 years? On my deathbed? This simple question dissolved 90% of potential conflicts. You're in a meeting and a colleague discredits you in front of the boss. Your immediate instinct is to counterattack. But think like a Jarl. In 5 years, what will be more important? This perspective isn't cowardice, it's strategic wisdom. Point 8. The bloat ritual. Channel emotions consciously. The bloat was a Viking ceremony of sacrifice and celebration, but beyond the religious aspect, it was something deeply psychological, a ritual to channel intense emotions consciously and controlled. Vikings understood that strong emotions need outlet. You can't simply repress them indefinitely without consequences. Unexpressed anger becomes resentment. Unprocessed fear becomes chronic anxiety. But you also can't simply explode every time you feel something intense. You need a system, a ritual to process these emotions so they don't destroy you. The modern bloat might look like this. When you feel an intense emotion you can't express in the moment, create yourself a personal ritual. It could be training intensely, writing in a journal with fury, hitting a punching bag. The important thing is that it's conscious. You're not losing control. You're choosing to give that emotion outlet in a safe context. Emotion is energy. Energy isn't destroyed, only transformed. You choose into what? Point 9. The weird philosophy. Accept what you can't control. Weird is the Norse concept of fate, but not as we usually understand it. It wasn't passive fatalism. It was the profound understanding that there are things under your control and things that never will be. Vikings lived in a brutal world. Storms could destroy their ships. Winters could kill their families. They developed this wisdom: control the controllable, accept the uncontrollable, and learn to distinguish between both. Can you control if someone insults you? No. Can you control how you respond? Yes. This distinction is fundamental for emotional control. Most of our anguish comes from trying to control what we can't. A practical Viking exercise. When you feel anxiety or anger, ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, the next question is, does my worry change the outcome? If it's also no, then let go. Vikings had a saying, the brave doesn't fear death because he knows weird is already woven. Accept your weird, control your response. That's true freedom. Point 10. Integration. Be a complete warrior. We've covered 9 principles. Now we arrive at the 10th and most important, integration. Because knowing these concepts is worthless if you don't live them. The complete Viking warrior wasn't just strong, wasn't just brave, wasn't just strategic. He was all this integrated into a coherent person. Here's the challenge for you. For the next 30 days, choose one of these principles and practice it consciously. Not all at once, that's overwhelming. 1. Week 1. Practice strategic silence. Every time you want to react immediately, count to 5. Week 2. Work your Hugr. Don't waste emotional energy on nonsense. Week 3. Implement berserker breathing. 3 times daily, minimum. Week 4. Integrate everything. Now you're not practicing, you're being. Vikings didn't become legendary warriors overnight. They did it through daily practice, year after year. Your mind is a muscle. Your emotional control is a muscle. The secret isn't a trick, it's a path. The question is, will you start walking it? So there you have it. The secret Vikings used to dominate not just territories, but their own minds and emotions. It's not magic, it's training, it's discipline, it's conscious choice. Remember the opening question? How would you stay calm facing 100 enemies with swords? Now you know the answer. With strong Hugr, with your Rokr integrated, with your Hugr conserved, with Drengr unshakable. But more importantly, now you know how to stay calm facing your difficult boss, your partner on a bad day, that aggressive driver, because those are your modern battles. If this video has brought you value, if you feel this ancient wisdom can transform your life as it has transformed mine, I ask you to leave a like. It helps me tremendously to keep sharing this knowledge. And here's my question for you. Which of these 10 principles will you implement first? Strategic silence, berserker breathing, the Drengr code? Leave it in the comments. Remember, you're not a slave to your emotions, you're their master. The Viking inside you already knows. You just need to awaken it. See you in the next video, warrior. Skål.